So we're looking at food waste recycling in East Dunbartonshire schools. We first introduced it back in 2013, but we run it as a pilot with 3 schools, 1 high school and 2 primary schools. Following the pilot, I'm not quite sure how long the pilot ran for. Was it 6 weeks or 6?
3 months.
3 months. 3 months the pilot ran for. And due to its success, we then decided that we're going to roll it out to all schools. Now in East Dunbartonshire we have 48 schools, and that includes the high schools as well. And we did it very successfully with Mary Ann. And all the schools are now participating in the food waste in the cafeteria, the staff in their staff room as well. They take part in it. Presentations were delivered to all the schools during the pilot. When the pilot was running, I went into all the schools and told them this is what's happening, and this is what's coming up. And just now actually we're doing a recap on presentations back in school again. Just a little 15-minute talk to assemblies, including high schools, to tell them the importance, just reminding them of the importance of recycling food waste, the legislation that's attached to it, and to encourage them, to keep it up, and tell them they're really doing well, and to keep up the momentum on it. They're also told about the journey of the food waste, what happens to it when it leaves the school gates. So now they've got an insight into that it gets turned into renewable energy and compost, and it's done locally from East Dunbarton, it's done in Cumbernauld. So they're now aware of what happens to it, and it makes things a bit better for them because they can understand. Now it's like, why are we doing this? Where does it go? Why are we separating it? Now they know why they're asked to do it. Excuse me. These are photographs actually for a local school that I just took yesterday. The kids were having their lunch, going around taking some photos, and here's some more. Some of the schools, they have done it so well, and it's worked so well. I mean, it's not rocket science. They've got their recycling bins in the canteen area. They've got a food waste bin that says food waste on it. So even the little ones are encouraged with the senior pupils to use this as in the primary schools. This is where it goes, this is food, and when you look in, it's an open bin, they can see it's food. So they're doing really, really well. But some of the schools have taken it a step further. They have been doing their food waste every day, and their aim, this is the words from the schools, is that their aim is to reduce the amount of food waste. And one of the ways of doing it is weighing it, and they chart it and they display it for eco-school purposes as well. But the other thing we've come up with is, I don't know if anybody's aware of the wristband programme. I was just made aware of it recently. And the schools in East Dunbartonshire have taken it as really a good step further with this programme. Every morning, and Mary Ann will tell you because her daughter does it as well at her school, every morning when the kids go into class, they get a menu, and they have to choose what food they want for that day. So if they go for a hot meal, they get a red band. If they go for a snack like baked potato and beans or something like that, they get a blue band. And then if they want to go for like a soup and a sandwich, it's a green band. Once the class, all the pupils have put down what they want, they get their bands, they take their bands, and then that information is passed to catering staff, and the catering staff then produce only what's required. So it cuts down on food waste. It also monitors what kids like and what they don't like. So the staff can see, if there's not a lot of people into fish, they might look at it and change the menu and put macaroni and cheese on or something. So they review the menu as well, and it's working exceedingly well. They have the first, few hiccups to start with, or you'll get kids with the red band for a hot meal, and then when they get there, they're like, oh no, I don't want that, I want the soup. And but they're told about this at assembly and says, look, you know, make sure what you've written down and what you're wanting for that day is what you stick to that day, because if there's 10 people wanting fish, then there'll be 10 fish cooked. And if you decide you want fish after it, you know, there isn't going to be any. And it's working really well. I was really surprised how well it is. And you can see one of the pupils there who's got their green band on, he's going for a soup and a sandwich. And the little one at the cash desk, they put each of these boxes, I've got the year group on it, so like P1s, P2s, and they just pop the band in there when they're finished. So I've just learned that a lot of schools are doing it now in East Dunbartonshire. This was something I wasn't aware of, but I was really impressed by this, and I thought it was maybe a national thing. I thought a lot of people were, maybe different local authorities were doing it as well. But the tonnage, just to get a rough idea, the tonnage that we're getting from the school on food waste is, the average is about 5 tonnes a week from the schools. But our next step is we're going to ask 10 schools to take part in a challenge and ask them to weigh their food waste for 2 weeks. And we'll compare what schools are doing. And if a school has got less, we'll be saying, why have you got less than them? Why is that? And maybe we'll find some answers. But the whole aim of it is to reduce the amount of food getting thrown out and the leftovers, rather than sort of weighing it all the time and, you know, and think, oh, we've done this amount, and the aim is to lower the amount of food waste. So they're doing, as I say, really, really well. Some of the schools have actually got a couple of bins because they've got compost and wormeries. So they have the eco school committees are very involved in this. The eco committees are very involved in it. And sometimes they'll stand and monitor the bins when the wee ones come up, especially if they've got more than one bin. So if they have got a compost bin or a wormery, you know, they'll say, well, you put your bread in here, and, you know, vegetables in here and fruit in here. And some of the schools are doing that as well. So that is what East Dunbartonshire Council is doing. Is there anything I've missed out, Marianne?
No, thank you.
No. Anybody get any questions they'd like to ask? Kat?
What happens to waste from packed lunches in these schools? Does it get sent home, or does it get thrown out of school?
No, I think they still use the bins for it. They still use the bins for
I
it.
know in a few schools in Sterling, packed lunch waste actually gets sent home.
Or does that?
Yes, and it doesn't. So, well, first off, you can see what the child eating.
Yeah.
It happens. My daughter's school has that packed lunch box where she used to take packages to come back. I mean, it's gross, but it shows you, you know, they don't eat that, so stop packing that. That's helpful. But also, it means the school doesn't deal with it at all. It doesn't go into their bin at all. They don't have to. It counts as part of the waste, which is fair enough.
Yeah, it's definitely something we would look into. You know, definitely we speak to the schools about it. Just one other thing I was going to ask quickly. The girl that was up from East Lothian a second ago. Saying how difficult it is sometimes to get into the schools. There's a good way around that, because I'm in demand. And the reason being is because I'm an eco-school assessor. So as soon as the schools hear that, they'll you know, so I don't have to approach them. Only ones that are kind of slacking, and I'll phone them up. And but when they know that you're actually an assessor, it's good to.
So would West Lothian Council have an eco-schools assessor of their own? Is that? I have been trying to find a contact, like an eco-schools contact in the council.
I haven't got any, there is an eco-schools contact, and I could give you that.
That would be great, yeah.
And I think it would be quite helpful. I mean, that's how you've got the email from, well, I had asked my colleagues at my work as well, you know, from other departments, who would be suitable to come to this event in the local authority, and that's probably where you've got the initial invite from. But I can certainly send you over the eco schools, right? That's not a problem.
Yeah.
We're getting few and far between, to be perfectly honest. They're just the way things are. But hopefully, with the new refreshment of eco schools, we are looking at a different process. So if you bear with us, we will. There's going to be a voluntary support mechanism. I think we're going to implement rather than assessors, but that is still at draft level. We're still having come
and
to
given that, I mean, all the things I mentioned there, they don't actually relate directly to eco schools. They're kind of separate. So would that angle still help, do you think? Like, would that
it would
still
definitely would help. Both if a teacher can see that doing one initiative helps to
that's
to get
kind of how they're trying to sell it,
schools.
But it's hard for it not to be seen as like extra work in addition to eco schools. You know?
And they put addition and they just run a mile.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be working. They have to be seen doing, trying to condense the work as much as possible to get to the same objective. And I think, as they need teachers doing that.
Well, this is I mean, most of the topics for eco schools is built into their curriculum anyway. So it's letting them realise that it's they're not taking any extra on. You know, it's there. You know, just so I can move it about a wee bit and add a couple of little things. So
I think streamlining it, you know, and like really making it clear how they feed into each other.
It's just encouraging them to recognise what actions they're doing, what aspects of Eco Schools programme they're doing, and what topics. I mean, many times I've got teachers, I was just speaking to this panel about, you know, I've got teachers coming on the phone. I've had teachers on the phone crying, and we've been given this remit, we're supposed to get a green flag. I don't know what I'm doing. So we sit, right, wait a minute, chill. It's not mandatory for a start, so you need to calm down and we'll work this out. But when I start chatting to them, do you do this, do you do that? Oh yeah, I would do that and we do this.
Exactly.
Well, why is it not in your action plan? Tell me how it's happening. I've not got telepathic skills and neither's my assessor, so we need to know this information. And we're not looking for reams, we're just looking for specific actions.
Well, it gives me the opportunity to go in and support and provide advice to the schools that are working towards the green flag or maintaining. So they'll call me in and say, oh, can you come in, Catherine?
Support.
Lots of support. Sorry, there's somebody else wanted to ask me a question.
Do you think there's a big uptake in waste because of the government's decision to make 1, 2, 3 hub?
I don't know if that has just been introduced just recently, hasn't it? So I think it will take a wee while to monitor it. What some schools are doing are, well, I think all of them, I'm not sure in East Dunbartonshire, but any food that's left over.
The food waste would go up, but with this new thing, everybody gets on board with the wristband programme, it will lower, so you're not having any waste in the canteen now. So it's way, But I thought initially, yes, it would, because of the 1, 2s and 3s are getting free meals now. So I thought it would go up, but we can't really monitor it now. It's only been in since the 1st of January, so we need to wait and see.
Is your meal set though? Because we've got like a programme, so the meal set basically every 4 weeks and then you changes, but it's basically a recurring menu.
It's a recurring menu.
It's never really going to change. It's the same things every other week type thing. So
the only time they change it if there's something that's unpopular to the kids, they'll change it.
it's a 4 week
Sorry,
thing.
can I?
It's a 4-week.
I just wanted to ask how you've engaged with catering staff, because we've done some zero waste lunch activities as well, and cooking in Ross, and it can be quite challenging for them because they feel like they're being they're under watch, and we've seen huge amounts of food waste coming out of Halls, which is issues to do with portion sizes, to do with the age of children, and also the timings as well in the dining hall, because they are under such pressure to turn around staggered lunch shifts within an hour or 2 hours. So I just wondered how you got around those issues.
Well, I'm not really in charge of the facilities management catering staff, but obviously we had to work with them when we put the food waste recycling into the school. And basically their job hasn't changed. their job is just to serve the children, and then it's up to the kids to put the food waste in, and then it's usually the site coordinator that will take the bags out to the bin outside, the food waste bin outside. So as far as an impact on the catering staff for this, it's not, I think it's actually making their job a wee bit easier, because they know exactly what they're having to cook for that day. They're not doing like 40 fish and 20 of them are ending up in the bin. So
how did you like communicate to them? Like, was there a briefing session or training session or?
Yeah, we went into every school, and before, while the pilot school was starting, we went into every single school and we spoke to, well, facilities management, the team leader for that and the manager for that spoke to all the staff, the catering staff, and the site coordinators, so they took that bit away from us to do. So it was my job then to go into the schools and tell them how it was going to run, you know, what it was going to be like. And we did, I mean, I'm not saying it was all smooth, and I mean, the kids in the primary school is probably, as we all know, they're great, they'll just do what they're told and do it, but the high schools was slightly different. Even although, like, I think we've got 5 new PPP schools in East Dunbartonshire, the high schools. We've got these really good canteen cafeteria areas, a lot better than they used to have, but still a lot of them go out at lunchtime. They'll go down to the local shop or the chip shop or something. So they're not generating a lot of food waste, and some of it was we were having problems with contamination, so we had to, do you know, any schools that were having those problems we would just go back into and say, well, this isn't, but the actual eco committee, or the eco committee lead it as well. So they can, without me having to go in all the time, the eco committee will do an assembly, a wee 5-minute thing assembly, slot them in, and they'll say, look, and they'll have photos up of like bits of plastic and things that shouldn't be in the food waste.
And did you engage with them as well to get them to kind of buy into it?
Oh yeah, always with the eco committee, always go through the eco committee and the eco coordinator when I'm getting into schools. And then I get them to pass the message as well. You know, so even if you just do like P47s and then let them feed it down to the younger primary kids. As I say, the high schools are that's the problem, but not the.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, are the bags reused then if they're going back into the tubs? Are they then reused?
Yeah, that's them going back into the tubs and they can use them the next day. And just kind of the rubber type bags, so it'll last for a long time.
Thanks very much, Kathy.
Thank you.